Hello everyone, today we are going to discuss chapter 2 of class 6 history, and the title of the chapter is From Hunting Gathering to Growing Food. In this chapter we are going to discuss about early man's journey from hunter-gatherer to the present age. Here in the beginning of this chapter, Tushar's train journey has been described. Tushar is a boy who is traveling by train from Delhi to Chennai, and his uncle tells him story of 150 years long journey of trains in India. Then he tells him that buses were introduced a little later. In the beginning, trains only were used as the means of transportation. Then Tushar wonders, did people remain unmoved before the invention of train or before the introduction of trains in India, or they moved? And why would they like to move from one place to another? What was the need in ancient times? So here it is described why the earliest people moved from one place to another. 2 million years ago, hunter-gatherers lived in the subcontinent. Evidences have been found. These hunter-gatherers, why are they called as hunter-gatherers? This is because hunting and gathering was their means of securing food. They would hunt animals, they would gather forest produce and use it as their food. And this task was not so easy. Hunting is very tough. Some of the animals are faster than men, so how would they chase them? Some animals are even dangerous and fierce, so it would not be so easy to hunt such animals. For hunting and catching fish, you need to be very alert and quick. And you should have your presence of mind as well. And if you want to become a gatherer, then also you need many skills. For gathering forest produce, you need to know what plants you need to gather, what part of the plant you need to gather, or some of the plants are even poisonous, so you should avoid them, or so many other things a person has to take care at the time of gathering forest produce. So let's discuss their reasons. Why did they move from one place to another? In long stay, animals and plant produce ends. Like if early man is living at one place and he is hunting animals or he is using any plant produce, so after some time it will be over, it will be utilized fully, then they need to move from one place to another. So this is the reason that they moved from one place to another. Second reason is that as they were hunting animals, so if animals move from one place to another, so just chasing the animals, they will also move from one place to another. Then third, plant bear fruits in different seasons. So in one season, a particular type of plant is giving them fruits. When that season gets over, then they need to find fruits. For that, they need to move from one place to another. So that was also one of the reasons for early man to move from one place to another. They moved in search of water as well. If the rivers get dry, then they need to find another source of water. If rivers are perennial, there is no problem. They will stay near this river and they will be utilizing water. Perennial means like water is flowing always. Okay. If water is flowing always, that river is called perennial. And some of the rivers are seasonal, means these rivers, you can find water in these rivers only in rainy season. So in that season, water is there, you are living near that river, but if rainy season is over, then it will get dry, so you need to move from one place to another. So these are the reasons that early man moved from one place to another. So how do we know about these people, that they were living there and this was their lifestyle? So we come to know about their lifestyle by finding tools of stone, wood and bone. Archaeologists have found these tools, and by observing, by watching these tools, we can come to know about the lifestyle of the early man. So why these tools were used? First reason, that they used these tools to cut the meat and bones. Very simple reason. Even till date we use tools like knife etc. to cut meat and other things. To scrape the bark from trees and hides. If they need to scrape the bark from a tree, then also they needed these tools. And if they need to scrape hide from dead animals, hides means skin, from dead animals. So to remove that skin also they needed these stone tools, or they used these stone tools for chopping the fruits and roots which they were using as their food. Some of these tools may have attached handles, and such tools are like spear and arrows. Spear is pointed at the top like this, and then it has stick that can be of wood. This is known as spear. Arrow, everybody knows, arrow is like that, which is used for hunting etc. Or in ancient times if they need to fight battles, then kings also used these arrows. Some of these tools were used to chop the wood for firewood. If they need fires and for that they need some wood, so for that also they would use these tools. Wood was also used to make huts and tools. So these are the uses of these tools by early man. Choosing a place to live. Here we are going to discuss how the early man decided that at which place I am going to live. Here on this map you can see the red triangles. Here Bhimbetka is there. This is Bhimbetka. Then you can see Hansgi. Then you can see Kurnool caves. So these are the sites of hunter-gatherers. Hunter-gatherers lived at these places, and generally when they used to choose a place to settle, they would choose it near the source of water. If there, see here Bhimbetka is there, so this is river Narmada. So near this river it is there. Then Hansgi is also here near the river. Here this river is there, so Hansgi is near it, and then Kurnool caves as well. So they used to either they will find some source of water, or they will choose any place where stone is available. Stone was used to make tools, so that's why tools were needed by them so much. So that's why they chose the places near availability of stone, and water was also important, so they chose the places near the availability of water and they would settle there. Here rock paintings have been shown in your book. So you can see this painting, a painting from a rock shelter. So here it is asked from you that you have to describe the painting, as it is very clear that one person is chasing animal or hunting it. So these kind of paintings, they tell us a lot, because early man did not write anything. So if we have to know about them, either we have tools or we have these paintings. So how paintings can help to understand about the past? Suppose you have found one painting from the past, and there a person is shown standing in the kitchen or burning fire, cooking something. So here it tells that this was their method of making food. If we find such kind of paintings hunting animals, so we will come to know that they used to hunt the animals. So whatever kind of life was lived by them, same kind of paintings they must have drawn, so it can give us a lot of knowledge about those people. So let us discuss about sites and finding about them. So first of all, here they have described how fire was found and where it was found. Kurnool caves. These have been shown on the map here. You can see Kurnool caves. In these caves, evidences of fire have been found. So, if we can find ash or if we can find things burnt at one place, it means people were aware about the use of the fire. So, here the question arises, for what purpose early man used the fire? So, three purposes here have been given. Source of light. So, fire was used to light a place, fire was used to roast the meat, or fire was used to scare away animals. Even present day we are using fire for such purposes. We can scare away animals even today. We can cook our food, we can roast the meat, or we can light it at night just to light the place. Let's discuss about names and dates. This is given in your book in a box, so we should discuss little bit about it. Paleolithic age has been described here. Paleolithic word has come from Greek words. Paleo means old and lithos means stone. So it means this is old stone age. It begins 2 million years ago and it continues about 12,000 years ago. Further, this has been divided into, the stone age has been divided into lower, middle and upper Paleolithic age. It covers 99% of human history, means if we count all our history, whatever kings, Guptas, Mauryas and Mughals, etc., all history and plus the ancient history of this early man using stone tools. So if we compare it and if we divide it into percentage wise, then 99% is covered by stone age only, and rest all these kings and kingdoms, they cover only 1% of the history period. Then around 12,000 years ago, environmental changes began, which continued till 10,000, and from 12,000 years ago to 10,000 years ago, this period is called Mesolithic. Here tiny tools have been found and these tiny tools were called microliths. Micro means very tiny, liths means stone tools. So this way we can learn about this period. Microliths have handles of bone and wood. These microliths, very small tiny tools, they have handles of bone or handles of wood. So this you should know about these tools. After 10,000, next age is known as Neolithic age. So let us discuss in detail about the Stone Age. Stone Age is that period of human history when we were using only stone tools. We didn't know anything. Stone tools only were our only tools to be used, and this age, stone age, can be divided into three phases: Paleolithic. This age is also known as Old Stone Age. Okay. Then there is Mesolithic. This is also known as Middle Stone Age. Then there is Neolithic. In Neolithic, its another name is New Stone Age. Means during these periods, early man was using only stone tools. Then why different names are given? Different names are given because there were certain changes in their lifestyle. There were certain changes in the use of stone as tool, and they in these periods they started using different kind of stones. Like early In Paleolithic, they simply used stone without any kind of finishing and all. In Mesolithic, they changed a little bit style of their stone tools. And Neolithic, they started making a new type of stones. Like even you can find a mortar and pestle, which photograph I will show you in the next. Mortar is that kind of made up of stone. Pestle is something like this. You put grains over here and you hit it and it will crush the grains, something like that. So these names are given on the basis of what kind of tools early man was using. Let's move ahead. A changing environment. Here basically in this chapter they have tried to tell you, like from when we were early man and we were living in the caves and hunting gathering was our occupation, then how changes took place and we started settling at one place, we started growing crops, we started rearing animals. So that has been described here under the title A Changing Environment. Around 12,000 years ago, environment started to change and now it started getting little bit warm. So if an environment has got little bit warm, then it led to the development of grasslands. If environment is too cold, everywhere there is snow, how grasslands can develop? So now because it turned too warm, so after that grasslands developed, and because of these grasslands now population of animals also increased because they survive on grass. And now people started observing the habits of animals, like what kind of grass they are eating, where do they sit at night, and in how many months they give birth to a new baby, and what kind of animal product, for example milk, etc., which animal is milk giving animal, and all these things they observed. And they then started thinking about rearing and herding, that we can now rear animals, we can keep them at homes if we can provide them the same grass which they are eating from outside. Then after knowing about these animals and rearing one or two animals, they thought we can keep herd of animals, we can have a lot many animals like sheep or goats, and this gave birth to rearing and herding occupation. Then it is here mentioned that now early man started fishing as well. They came to know about the art of fishing and they started catching the fish and utilizing it. The beginning of farming and herding. So how farming got started? Till now we have discussed how they started rearing animals. So now we will discuss about how they started farming. Grain bearing grasses started to appear when these grasslands developed. At the same time, early men observed that certain grasses bear grains, and these are very useful. We can eat them, even animals can eat them. People observed how some seeds were lying here on the in the ground, then after some time rain took place and they started sprouting and they converted into plants. So after observing these things, the early men thought that we can also do the same. We will put seed at one place, then we will pour water, and then these crops will grow. So this way early men got the idea of growing crops. And after that, for the protection of these crops only, early men started attracting the animals, and first animal was wild dog. They started attracting them, like dog, very easily you put a piece of meat in front of dog, then dog will come. You can then tame it, you can make it a pet. I have always providing meat to this dog and it will protect your crops, etc. Then sheep, goat, cattle, pig, etc., these animals also early man started rearing and making them domesticated. People protected these animals from all kind of wild animals and from other threats in the forest. Domestication. Domestication is the process when we are trying to tame the wild animals and we are making them pet. Domestication means making animals pet. So that domestication can be of animals, that domestication can be of crops. Like these earlier are grown in the forest automatically, but now early man thinks that I can grow these crops near my house, so that also will be considered as domestication. So how they would select the plants for domestication? It's not like that they will go to forest and choose any plant or any grass that I will grow it near my home. No, there should be some qualities in that. For example, if they will choose this grass, grain bearing grass, it should not be prone to disease. Prone to disease means it should not have such tendency that any time any disease will catch it and that the grains will be destroyed. Another thing they will keep in mind that this grass should have large size grains. That also they thought before selecting any grass to grow. Why I am saying grass? Because all these crops earlier were like grass to early men. Later on, when they recognized that these grains are useful, we can utilize for this purpose, then we started giving names to this grass of different crops. Then they would think that the grass we are choosing to grow, it should have strong stalks, means its branches should be strong, so that if some heavy and big size grains appear on this grass, so if this is too heavy and its stalk is too thin, then it will fall down on the floor. So to support these grains they need strong stalks. So that's why early man kept this thing also in mind. Then they would take seeds from the selected plants and then they will grow near their houses or their huts. This way they started agriculture. Now selection of animals. How they will select any animal to make it pet? For that also they will take care that the animal should be relatively gentle, means it should be very gentle. It should not be fierce and horrible like a lion. Lion though cannot be made pet. So they would choose such gentle animals like goat, sheep or other cattle. Another thing, domesticated animals became different from the wild ones. This you need to understand properly. How domesticated animals will become different? Suppose now they have domesticated one buffalo and this buffalo is given grass which is already cut by early man, and now it doesn't have to go to forest and that it doesn't have to struggle to tear the grass from the ground, so its teeth will become less stronger now. But the wild animals, their teeth will be very strong and big in size. So similarly about other organs which they had to use in the forest as wild, but now because they are under protection they don't need to use those things. So these animals became little bit different from the wild animals. Whatever plant and animal produce we have today, it is the result of this domestication, that once upon a time we planned to domesticate these plants and animals, so today we are using that. A new way of life. Here it has been told that when early man started growing crops, when early man started rearing animals, it gave birth to a new way of lifestyle. First thing, that now they started settling at one place. Why? Why now the early man started settling at one place? Because now he is growing crops. And for growing crops, you need to stay at one place, because first once you put the seed in the ground, then you need to water it. Then you need to remove weeds. Weeds are unnecessary grass. Okay, so that also is to be removed from the crops. For that purpose also early man has to stay there, or if wild animals will come and destroy the crops, so they also need to be removed from that place. So for that purpose also early man needed to settle at one place. So this way, as the early man started growing crops, it gave birth to this new way of life when this person, this early man, started living at one place. Now another change it brought in their life is they started they started to feel the need to store the grains, and to store the grains now you need something. So for that they started making pots of clay like that, so that we can keep grains safe, or we can preserve grains for next season as well. They started weaving the baskets, they started digging the pits, so that they can store their surplus grain. They started storing animals also. How a person can store the animal? Means now they are aware that at the time of need, when in future, maybe due to drought or due to lack of water or flood, if your crops are destroyed, if you have animals with you now as domesticated animals, but if need is there, we can use these animals as meat. So this way they started storing animals for future. Finding about the first farmers and herders. Here in this map you can see blue square sites here. This is Koldiva, Maghara, Mehergarh and Burjahom there in north. This is Chirand here, and here you can say this is Payampalli, and here Halur. These are the sites of farmers and herders. So how in the excavations, how historians have come to know that these are the sites of farmers and herders, which are the sites of hunter gatherers. So they come to know about all these things. Whatever remains they have found here, they in excavations, by digging the earth, whatever they have found, so they will study that. If they have found plant and animal remains, it means these are the sites of farmers, because farmers grow plants and grains and they domesticate animals as well. If they are finding only the seeds of the fruits or bones of animals, then historians will decide, they will conclude that hunter gatherers were living at this place. So traces of huts and houses also have been found. For example, Burjahom in Kashmir. This is a site, name of site Burjahom. It is located in Kashmir. Here they have found evidences of pits. Like these people make their houses in form of pits. They will dig the earth, and inside the earth they will make their house. And further these archaeologists, they have noticed that hearths have been found inside and outside the house. Here hearth means that in Hindi you call it chulha, which is used for burning the fire and baking food or cooking food. Okay. So this shows that sometimes they would utilize, when weather is too cold, then they can make food inside the house, and when weather is pleasant, then they can come outside and make food outside the house. Stone tools. As I had told you earlier, in Neolithic age, new type of stone tools had been used. So some features of these Neolithic tools. Question can be asked, what are the features of Neolithic tools? So Neolithic tools are different from Paleolithic tools or Mesolithic tools. These Neolithic tools are polished, means their surface is smoother than the Paleolithic tools. Example is given like mortar and pestle. This is mortar, and this is pestle. So these are also Neolithic tools which were used by Neolithic man. And this is also very special thing about that at the time of Neolithic age, it was not like that all the tools they started using in a new style. Some Paleolithic tools were also in use at the time of Neolithic. Like since ages we have been using something, so suddenly we are not going to throw that. We can utilize that old tool also, and we can utilize the new tools as well. So both types of tools were used in Neolithic age. Some earthen pots also have been found by the archaeologists. These pots were used for cooking, and for cooking rice, wheat and lentils. Lentils are pulses. And now rice, wheat and lentils, they also had become part of their diet. Otherwise earlier they were using only wheat and barley. With the passage of time they started using different type of grains. Now they had started, early people, they had started weaving cloth as well and wearing it. All these changes occurred slowly over the years. It's not like that now within 2 days they just became so modern. In these changes it took even thousands of the years. Thousands of the years were used or passed to bring these changes. That in later parts, some of these early people in different parts of the subcontinent in later times, they tried to combine the activities. Like they tried to practice hunting, they tried to practice gathering, and even they were practicing farming, etc. Means they tried to combine these activities along with each other, so that they can find different supplies of food at the same time. Let us have a closer look at the living and dying at Mehergarh. Mehergarh is a site which is located in fertile plain near Bolan Pass, which is very important routes to Iran. Okay, so it is in Afghanistan region. This Bolan Pass is located there. So here this site Mehergarh is located, and it is probably one of the places where people learned to grow barley, wheat and rear sheep and goats first of all. So here they have found evidences that early man practiced agriculture as well, and it was rearing sheep and goats also. So means this is one evidence from the early sites that early men leaving their hunting gathering, now they started practicing agriculture and they were living a settled life. It is one of the earliest villages excavated by the archaeologists till date we know. From earliest levels here, bones of deer and pig have been found. Later levels we have got sheep and goat, and then we have got cattle bones from the later levels. You should understand these three levels. See, when maybe millions of years ago at one place some people were living, okay, and they were simply hunting they used to practice, okay. So now they will go outside in the forest, hunt the animals, they will bring here, they will eat, and bones will be lying here. After some time, then they died, sand covered this area. This is one layer, one level. Then after that, at the same place some people were living who were using sheep and goat. So that is called second level. Here they were using sheep and goat, they died, and now if we dig this place, we will find bones of sheep and goat. This is the later level, the topmost. Here, if cattle bones are found, it means that these people, they used to rear animals. So whatever kind of things have been found from any level, that tells us that what kind of people were living in that particular area. So if these archaeologists, they will excavate this place, here if cattle bones are found, they will say here so those people were living and they used to rear animals. Then if you are finding only these bones of deer and pig, it means they were hunter gatherers. So these levels tell us what kind of people were living in a particular region. Other finds at Mehergarh, their houses are of square or rectangular shape. Each house had 4 or more rooms. See, they were proper villages. Now it was like a village only. When people die, so relatives and friends pay respect to them. Like present day, if any person dies, we also pay respect. I have seen in the villages, when the person has died, he is lying here, and many people from the relatives and other family, they are coming. They come and touch his feet. They bow down, touch his feet. Even and in the war, if some soldiers get martyred, then also like prime minister goes and puts flower on their body. So this way, this is a method of showing respect to the dead. So this was done by these people as well, who were living at Mehergarh. And in burials, they would bury things along with the dead body of a person. They would bury goat also, they can bury even sheep, or they can bury other things. It shows that they believed in the next world. They thought that this person has died now and he will go to some next world after the death, so we should keep some of the things which he can utilize on the way, or which he can utilize in the next world. Here I want to tell you that your chapter is over, and I have made one activity on the basis of this chapter. How can you play that game activity? For that, you need to go to the description of my YouTube video. When you are watching YouTube video, then this kind of scene will appear before you, and exactly at the right bottom, this is one sign. If you click on this, you will find this will open before you. Below the video, this will open before you, and these are the links of videos. If you click on any of these links, then this kind of page will appear before you, and you need to click play. Then again they will ask you to click on this play once more, and after that your activity will start before you. This is your question. You have to tick any of these answers, and it will show your marks here. If you want to zoom it while playing, you can click on this icon on the top right corner, so it will then increase its size. Thank you. Have a good day. May God bless you.
Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also press the bell icon to get the notifications about my latest videos.